Welcome, 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 welcome. We're talking from New York to Los Angeles, California. I'm thrilled to have Bill Wright, that's Bill with one L, who was once a New Yorker and now is permanently on the West Coast. He's an award-winning novelist, a playwright, and I have the thrill and to say that I went to church with him once, many years ago. And you've really grown and blown up since I've known you. And I just want to, that there's several books that I own that you've written. You've won Lammy Awards. You've been nominated for a lot of prestigious things, including, the association with Stonewall Book Award, which from my perspective, being a New Yorker and being mentored by one of the living Stonewall writers, Thomas Lanigan Smith, this is a thrill. So I wanted to just thank you so much for taking the time to be part of the Star 80, 80
Honor.
pounds,
Um,
80 years, and 80 dolls that we're celebrating and counting the days to Diana Ross's 80th birthday. Bill with one L, could you just share a little bit or a lot of bit about yourself to the people that are going to be watching you being interviewed with me, answering the 7 questions and more? Tell us about yourself.
Absolutely. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for the invitation. You and I both know that I don't know that I love Miss Ross as much as you love Miss Ross, but I don't know that anybody could love Miss Ross as much as you do. But I do love her. And
I
we've
do
had a
love
relationship oh, absolutely, absolutely. Um, and I would say that actually has been an inspiration of mine. And before we started rolling, we were talking about the fact that Sunday You Learn How to Box, which was my first book, is semi autobiographical. And the guy in it, the young man in it, does, as I did,
her.
a lot of listening to Motown. I do mention, as you pointed out, that there is actually, yes, I talk about Martha and the Vandellas. So yes, I have had that. That was my first book, Sunday You Learn How to Box. And then you mentioned you have a catalog of my work. Usually I have it set out so that I can remember what the titles are. But Putting Makeup on the Fat Boy is the book that did, yes, win the Lammy
Yeah.
and also the American Library Association Award, which was wonderful. I was very happy to do that. And then I have When the Black Girl Sings, and actually, what is, I think, very interesting, it continues to interest me, is that both Sunday, Fat Boy, no, it's Fat Boy was banned, and there's another book that I'm in. I have a piece in The Letter Q, and that was also banned. So, as I said, I continue to find that a point of interest in terms of being a gay Black man. When I got the call, it was a reporter, and he said, "How do you feel about having your books banned?" And I had no idea. And I said, "Well, I don't think they are." And he said, "Oh, yes, at least two of them are." And he told me the titles, Putting Makeup on the Fat Boy and The Letter Q. And he said, and if you need proof, just go to the list and I will tell you where the list is. He gave me the link. And sure enough, I went down and there they were. Now, actually, I will say I'm very proud of that.
I think that's an accomplishment. Like, Olivia Newton-John was banned with Let's Get Physical, and so have you. Just one song, but you've got like 2 books, 3 books
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
banned. That's
I'm
pretty
very
impressive.
proud
But
that,
but you but do you have cognitive dissonance about being banned? Because I've read those books, I own those books. I don't like I just don't get how someone could ban something that's so pure and honest and that you're I just it's I can't wrap my brain around it. But can you like rationalize?
sure. I mean,
Okay.
I write about Black people and I write about gay Black people.
Okay.
And I think that they're not on the top of the list politically in this country. So I think if you're looking to ban something and say, don't read this, it is books, well written books about gay Black people. And if people do find them somehow provocative, or they could be called the kind of book that makes you think too much, I'm very proud of that. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what I put into my work, hopefully, is things that will make, especially young people. I'm best known for my young adult books.
Correct.
Um, and if I am making young people think about being who they want to be in the world, even if they're just deciding who they want to be in the world, because I think that's an evolution, actually. But certainly, if they are feeling that they are anything within the LGBTQ community, that I want to be a writer who says this is a book that will encourage you to be who you are,
Live your truth.
live your truth. And also, I don't find there are more now than when I first started writing, but about Black gay youth. When I first started, there was a real dearth of books around. And even I did a couple of conferences, and I was the only person there who had a book about gay Black, lots of books about youth, Black youth, but not gay Black youth.
So, moving right along with our bombastic review, this is
Yes,
a good segue to go into, the Supremes when they were when the Supremes, the Shirelles, there weren't role models for Black women,
yes,
youth, and there were the Shirelles, there were the Chantels for maybe that went to 15 in 1960, 59, 58 maybe. But the point is that there wasn't a superstar mega group like Diana Ross and the Supremes. All right.
absolutely.
So Diana Ross came out at a time. Oprah Winfrey even says that she's first time on December 23rd, 1964, she saw the Supremes singing "Come See About Me," and it just changed her life because she not never saw anyone with such dignity and grace. Now,
Yes.
Martha Reeves and the Vandellas were on the Sullivan Show once with a very strange orchestration version of "Dancing in the Street." I love the set. I love the gowns. I loved Martha's hair, but I didn't think it worked the way the Supremes were, or Martha's song. I think it was missing something. But
Well,
what do you think?
I think from the very beginning, what we've learned is that Berry Gordy had a very specific vision of what he wanted the Supremes to be. And at that time, if you were going to create or promote a crossover group, it would be the Supremes.
Mhm.
They were the most polished. I think, as far as Motown was concerned, there was a bigger budget for their gowns and their wigs. And so the audience immediate, plus Diana had a very unique voice. So it wasn't your average rhythm and blues
Mhm.
singer. And I think that, and also she was very glamorous. She was somebody who was very attractive to us because she was very thin and yet beautiful. And I think at that point, the public was used to seeing a lot of not necessarily full figured, but more, I would say, moderately figured women who were singing in groups. Whereas Diana was very thin. She was, I think she's been called several times sparrow-like.
Mhm.
And that's what she gave. And the huge lashes, they were always a step ahead of themselves. And I think that that really, whether it was Martha, whether it was any of those other girl groups, I think the Supremes were always being groomed to be number one.
Mhm. And number one, they were from 1964 to 1969. They had a 12 number one hits on the Hot 100. And now everyone like Cher was number one on the adult contemporary, woo, but it was like the dance chart, woo. But like it's like seriously, the Hot 100 it's like sales. sales, sales.
Yeah,
Streaming and all that makes everything complicated. I'm trying to understand it, and I am with how things roll in the charts and all. But having 12 number one singles in the turbulent 60s and solid number ones from that short 5-year period is pretty incredible. And of
yeah,
course, Diana went solo and had an equally large career with an additional a half dozen of number ones on the Hot 100. And of course, if we count the chartings from all the different charts, she's got clearly well over 33 number ones on the Billboard
right.
chart. So let's just statistics aside, the deep dive question in Star 80,
Okay,
I'm
fine.
asking, I'm asking, uh,
Yes,
beyond the Supremes classics, which well-known Diana Ross songs holds a special place in your heart and why?
I was just in preparing for this, listening to some of the older
Mhm.
songs. There are two things that I really love. Swept Away.
Ooh, me too. Daryl Hall and Sarah Allen, can't go
Yes,
wrong.
yes, great dance tune.
And
So
she
that,
wrote the
yeah,
intro herself.
yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Rossville, Rossville Publishing. Yes, she wrote the intro to that song herself.
Oh,
She was
great.
lying there, lying on the beach. I dreamed you were there.
Okay.
Right before you and I. Oh yeah, she wrote it. It's a spoken intro by Diana Ross. Yeah.
Okay. Great, great, great.
So
Uh,
swept away. Yes.
and then the other song that she does, um, I think probably more recently, and I don't know how many years, I'm sure that you would know, is The Best Years of My Life.
Like the best. Will Jennings. That's an interesting song. Yeah, she sang it
Or
in opera, and in October 10th, I think, 1993. She
yeah,
sang in opera. Yeah,
I
for her.
think the first time I heard it was at City Center,
Hmm. Oh, we were at that
and
show together. Yeah.
she was at she sang it at the very end. It might even have been one of the songs that she came back and sang after her what we thought was her final bow. I
Right.
think that may even have been that. And just so gorgeous. And it was clear that she was sincerely moved by the evening.
Mm.
And so when she sang that lyric, it was just very touching and very honest, I think. And it was at the beginning of her beginning to speak about not singing, or beginning to talk about retirement.
Right.
And so doing that song, I think, moved a lot of people because they felt now we are going into the thank yous for my career.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
you started to feel that each concert after that was a historic event.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know, it's much like Tina. When Tina started talking about this may be the last tour, I think that everything that she's saying became so meaningful for
Right.
people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Tina Turner song? Do you have a go-to Tina Turner song?
Um, I do, and it may come to me in a few minutes, but it's not coming. It's kind of a medium pace, and I can't remember.
Break Every Rule. I'm just wondering.
Yes,
My favorite. That's my go-to.
yes,
I mean, like I told Deandra this and she thought I was nuts, but like, no, Break Every Rule is a great
yeah,
song.
yeah,
I'll be your slave, I'll even be your fool. It's like it's a very pump you up. I'm gonna break every rule. And
yeah,
like she did
yeah,
break every rule because with ageism, with racism, with all the identity politics,
absolutely.
and being pushing 50 and then blowing up like she did for like the third time in her career. I mean, that's incredible. And all the things against you, her at the
Yeah.
time, but breaking every rule. That's such a genius song. Yeah, I'm
What
glad.
is the song that says we don't have to fight no
I don't know.
more?
That was from Lulu, who did Sir Silver Love. I don't know which song,
Okay,
right? I Don't Want to Fight is from her What's Love Got to Do with It movie.
I love that song.
Hanging on to the past can only stand your way. It's like in the Bible.
Yes,
Was they look if you look back, you turn to a pillar of salt. Hanging on to the past can only stand in your way. I mean, that's truth. And Tina can do that. And Diana can do that too, like in Swept
oh,
Away.
while we're talking, we're back to Diana.
That's right. Whoops. Ooh,
I have to share
thank you.
my Diana doll that you made for me that I loved so much. I actually had to pull her out of her glass case.
While she's in a glass case, that's pretty
It
fancy.
is in a glass case alone on the
Oh,
glass shelf.
oh, wow. Thanks.
Absolutely. I had to make sure that no dust got on this beautiful white gown,
Yes. Yeah.
no dog hair. We had to keep it pristine, as
Well,
I'm sure Miss Ross would like it. Yes.
absolutely.
So,
Nope.
but I wanted to share and let
Thank
you
you so much.
know
Yeah.
she's so gorgeous. And I thank you so much. People come
I,
into my apartment and they say, "Oh, it's so wonderful." And I
wow.
say, made expressly for me.
I had so much fun during the pandemic doodling on overlock material because, what are you gonna do? Just
Yeah, yeah,
Dr. Ross and the Supremes. So I like did every gown on like overlock, just leftover stuff during conferences because you're an academic.
yeah,
Everything was boom. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, interesting song selection. And I like that we talked a little bit about, Tina, and also the important thing about the spoken word when someone that excites us says something and they're kind of hinting that, the sun isn't always gonna,
Yeah,
there is something that we do take people more seriously for their word and appreciate their performance even more and more and
yeah,
more.
yeah.
So, the evolutionary enigma, question number two. From Motown girl group to disco diva to Oscar nominated actress in Lady Sings the Blues, which era of Dinah's career resonates with you the most? Now, from like what you've written about, or I'm just curious, she's redefined herself in so many different ways in her career.
Absolutely.
But what era do you think is like that's the era that's going into the time capsule that I'm going to put together of the legends of whatever.
Well,
Or
in a way, it's probably very obvious to a lot of people. I think many, many people were surprised that she would be a good actress.
mhm,
I think even her most enthusiastic fans thought, uh-oh, this may be a mistake. And I think that when Lady Sings the Blues came out, people thought, oh, that's one other aspect of her genius. Because we'd never seen her work before the big screen, before a camera. We'd never seen her. She does vignettes. There's a TV special where she does vignettes and she imitates people. But this was the first time that we'd seen her take a character from, in the beginning, I'm sure you know, she's a very young girl when she's on the steps of the brothel and
mhm,
takes her straight through to her death. And all the highs, all the lows. She's very funny in it. And again, the screen loves her. So I think that would be the beginning. And then I love her later recordings because I think that they're so rich. There are a lot of strings and horns and full orchestra behind her. And I think that what happens is she gets less kind of pop charty
mhm,
and more into a sense of I really want to sing this because I really want to sing this. And if it makes it to the top of the charts, it does. And if not, you can sit in your car and you can love it until you reach your destination.
mhm. Yeah, interesting. So, A Lady Sings the Blues, there's not one clunker track in that soundtrack. It is just gorgeous.
Right,
Gorgeous,
right.
gorgeous. And the acting, I'm very well aware of the scenes that you're talking about.
Yeah,
Especially she does, I don't know how she does it, but she's pushing 30 when she filmed the movie, but she does come across as a little gangly girl and
yes.
then becomes a woman or lady Billie Holiday. So
Yeah.
excellent, interesting, interesting, interesting. And the later recordings, is there a specific song that like resonates with, what you define as her?
You know, I can't pick a specific song. Um, as I say, the last few recordings have been really special to me.
Mhm,
Um, but I can't pick a specific one. I did my research, but I didn't find one specific one that I could pin down. So
All right. Well,
about
question
that.
that's good. Now we can talk about that later. Fashion and flair, star 80 question number three. Diana is, of course, and a fashion iconic. It's undeniable that she's a fashion icon. Which one of her looks, from her gown to the sequins, truly, really just encapsulates the essence of Diana Ross, because she is the face of YSL at nearly 80. So, like,
That
what era of gowns, is there a specific gown that you think of when you think of Diana Ross? Like,
again,
if you okay, let's put this on the table. I've
yes,
been asked, let's pretend I've been asked to be the curator of the gowns. I get to go to Connecticut. I go to Greenwich. I go to the attic, the conveyor belt. You and I are picking. You're with me because you're going to be writing the book that's being published
yes,
that goes with the show, and I'm picking the gowns with you. So,
yes.
what gown do you want to have as soon as you walk into the FIT museum? Like, what is the Diana Ross gown with it? The mannequin's hands out like this, and then there's this a mountain of gowns that go wrap around with your words in the actual catalog that's on.
Now, I can't say that it would be the opener. I
Okay.
really cannot say it would be the opener. Number one, I don't know whether you can still find this outfit. In 1981, she did a concert where she brought Michael Jackson up on stage.
Yes.
And they did a song, they did
Yeah.
Upside Down. She danced with him, and it was a white slinky gown, which actually we've seen her in, not that particular gown,
Right.
but certainly that look with
Right.
the halter, the low back. There are lots of people who said, especially early on, that she had a great butt. So that was something that we saw a lot of.
Right.
Um, and then she changes, it's Michael's turn, and he wears a white tux with a sequin vest and a white bow tie. And she comes out with him in the white tux and the sequin vest and the white bow tie, and they sing together. That to me is number one, it's a magical concert,
It
but
is.
that change into the tux is just great.
So the tux, okay, because Tracy Ellis Ross wore that tux when she was hosting the American Music Awards, and she found it in her mom's garage in San
Okay.
Diego. She talked to, but it's the actual tux. I'm sure it was refitted, but
Okay.
it's definitely still around. And that gown, that Mackie gown,
Yes.
during that, I call that era from like 78 to 81, though, white sequined era, because she
Yes.
always like, kind of, she'd kind of be layered, then she'd just take everything off. And at the end of the show, she had this huge, like, uh just chiffon that she was just carrying around. Then she exited with Ain't No Mountain High Enough at
Yeah.
the 81 tour in the Forum. So, and
Yes.
of course, you remember the butterfly wings at the beginning when at that special, which
Yeah.
that special changed my life, because
Yeah.
would she say, I wish I were a camera, and I see my life as a tunnel. Yeah, those words meant so much to me growing up. I think that's an interesting special. And of
And
course, seeing
again,
Michael Jackson on stage with her.
yeah.
Could you
Yeah.
imagine being there? Like, I
And
mean,
she says a couple of times, "That's my baby."
you're my baby, Michael Jackson. And then they're really singing they're upside down. And then they do, I think, Ease on Down the Road. And I think Dinah even does Rock with You, which was a big hit
Yes.
with his
Yes.
blockbuster album Off the Wall.
Yes.
He, of course,
Absolutely.
Thriller or Bad and all the rest. Yeah, so interesting. So, star 80 question number four, live or Memorex? Do you prefer Diana Ross live? Because you were at the City Center. I know I was there with you. I didn't, you went, but like I was there. I was in the front. I helped the grandchildren up on the stage. That was cool. I knew I was going up the level when I helped the grandchildren go up. And I was
Oh,
trying.
did you?
Oh, no, I helped
Oh my gosh.
daughter with the earphones, and then
Oh my gosh.
Rhonda's son, Raif, and then I think Leona, which is Arna Nass's for the second husband. Their
Right.
Leona's daughter or son, I helped up. Yeah, so the three Ross grandchildren I touched, and yeah, because I was right in the front row and I kept them. Yeah. Never forget it, April 26, 2017. You were there at City Center. That was a great show, and Whoopi talked about it on The View because it was really electric, and it was almost like having a residency of Diana Ross in New York City near
Absolutely.
Carnegie Hall. So,
Absolutely.
live or studio, you've seen her live, you've listened to the records. Do you prefer one or the other?
I think at this point, it's the recordings.
I'm kind
Um,
of that way too, but you're
yeah.
the only other person that said that. You're the,
Oh, really?
everyone is saying live, live, live. Yeah,
I think because I've been, and I want to be totally honest, we're being totally honest here,
absolutely.
because I've seen her so many times
Mhm.
that the opening of old Motown, I feel at this point, for me, it's almost wanting to come in at the halfway point. Because not only did I play Baby Love and Come See About Me forever and ever, I've seen her sing it as well. So
Mhm.
I think that at this point, the newer stuff, the later stuff for me is really exciting to see her do.
Right, right. And of course, the public wants to hear Baby Love and Come See
Absolutely.
About Me. And
Absolutely.
I've seen Diana over 180 times. And I
Right.
brought Dino, my husband, to go for the first time. And of course, I knew it was going to happen, but like I got 2 tickets, but then 4 tickets magically appeared on my lap so I can take my friends. And so Dino brought his best friend, and I brought another friend, and then so like, but so I was just nervous that Dino wasn't gonna, because he's, she's Diana Ross. He was blown away. So just seeing Dino get into it was good enough for me. But I, of course, want to hear the new songs. Like she just did like snippets of the new album. Thank
Yeah,
you. Which I want.
exactly.
'Cause there's a couple of songs on that new album that like Count on Me.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
another one, Beautiful Love, which is so personal. And it's the songs in the key of her life now. And she's not, it's not about love hangover. It's about come
Right.
together, beautiful love, just in case, count on me, and just thank you, the gratitude. And the
Yeah.
one song that at the new album, I know I'm plugging the new album too much, but there's a song called "And Love I Still Believe."
I
And
still believe in love. Yeah.
when I first heard it, when I was like walking the dog, I was like, oh, because they had it like previewing it on my,
Yeah.
your set or whatever. And I was
Yeah.
just really surprised because I wasn't expecting that kind of a feel-good song that is like a grown-up dance song, like "In Love I Still Believe, it's all I really
Yeah.
need." The reason I
Yeah.
believe whatever it is, I still believe in love. Like it's not what you thought it was going to be, but I still need love. And love
Well,
can come in many ways and colors and shapes and
absolutely.
sizes. So I still believe in love. Like it's
And I
better.
think one of the great things about Diana that I admire is that she has always moved with her own age, in that she's never tried to continue to be 25 or 35 or 45. I love it at her concerts when she says exactly how old she is and
Mhm.
says, and I look good, don't I, for this age? And I think it's the same with her music. I think that when she goes into the studio, she's not trying to recreate who Diana was in 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. She's saying, I'm a mature woman. I have grandchildren. And yet, yes, I do still believe in love. I've had, what does she have? Two husbands? Is
Sure.
that
Yeah.
two
Not
husbands?
yet. Two husbands.
Yes. And she
Love and
has,
art.
right. And she has her grandchildren. So she's saying, I'm an older woman. You have been with me forever. But what you see now is the legend. And the legend means that I have lived, I have loved, I have performed, and here I am for you at this
And I'm
point.
still giving. Like, yeah, she's still
I'm
giving it.
still giving and saying thank you because you're still giving to me.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
there are lots of times when the public does not honor age, when they feel, yes, she was great. Yes, she was wonderful. I feel like I don't need to see her again. That's not the case with her. People go back time after time after time because she's a performer
Hmm.
and she's never going to give you a tired act that she's done. I mean, now she's been all over the world, right, for this last tour. And each time it feels fresh. So I think, yeah, I really admire that in her as a performer.
That tenacity and there's that willingness to give. Yes,
Yeah.
and never stop.
Yeah.
So number five, sorry, 80 question, unexpected gems. Now let's put the cards on the table. There was a song called Murder on the Dance Floor. I remember hearing it. I remember thinking, oh, that's cute. It's in the top 100 now because they use it in this really whacked out, they call it a black comedy, but I still can't figure out who the protagonist is in this Amazon movie called Saltburn. It's wickedly funny.
Oh,
It's ish. I
it's
don't know. But
great.
it
It's
has, but
wonderful.
it's wonderful, but it's just like I had to watch it 4.5 times. But I had to just because I was trying to who am I rooting for? Like, what's wrong with this? Like that's kind of what who is the protagonist? I don't know.
Well,
So
that's the thing. You're not rooting for anybody.
well, whenever I watch a film and there's a sociopath in the character, I kind of think like, why was I rooting for Matt Damon's character in maybe there's something wrong with me, I shouldn't say that, but like Matt Damon's character, there's something about in The Talented Mr. Ripley, I was like, there was something about his character that I was like, well, he was pale, he didn't have enough sun, and like I was trying to like figure out like why is he so rotten? And with this guy, I'm like, well, he's from a middle class family. Like, what's so wrong with it? Like, why is he lying all the time?
Well, in that, if you look at all the people who surround him, there is this bit of sociopath in all of them. So the idea is to just be fascinated.
Oh,
And so you
I guess I want
identify
to
with,
help him. Like, read this book. Maybe it'll help you. Make a doll, make a puppet.
no,
I
you
think maybe
go
that's
for
what
the
it is.
ride. You go for the
Well,
ride.
maybe that's it. That's the ride that I need to go on when I see it, the
Yes,
half of that my half time and the
yes.
fifth final time. So,
Because
but
your creative life is so specific and detailed, right? And you don't want to do too much of this or too little of that. And this has to, I'm sure, inches, how many,
right,
yes, how much lace, how many sequins.
yeah,
But with that, you let it go.
okay. Left the
You
pearls.
let it
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Yep,
All
that's what
right.
it's.
So Blood was it not Blood on the Dance Floor was Michael Jackson's 1997 record that came out in 97. But this, the unexpected gem is that Murder on the Dance Floor is really moving up the charts because of the being included in Saltburn. So
Okay.
in the unexpected gem, what hidden Diana Ross treasure do you think? Now, this could be a film, it could be a Supreme side, it could be a B-side, a deep cut. What do you think deserves more attention that should go, like zoom up the charts in like the way that I never would have thought Mariah Carey would be number one with that Christmas song again, but the other one I'm trying it's not Little Miss Dynamite, Brenda Lee,
Oh
she had a
yeah.
number one for 3 weeks on the Hot 100 with Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. So that's that's like a 65-year-old song more. It's like it's an old song and it was generally popular within our public and Billboard top the Billboard charts. What unexpected gem do you think possibly by Diana Ross could have this renaissance if we can go to the top of the charts?
I don't know that this needs a renaissance, but what I would love, and I'm sure because you go to all of the concerts, you see that at this point, there's lots of film on her. So there are lots of photographs of her, right?
Right.
I would love when she does, do you know where you're going to, that we could have a tiny clip from Mahogany. I think because that film is so underrated. It's fun. It's like what I was just saying to you.
About
You have to
Saltburn.
let go. You
Yeah.
let go and you go for the ride. You watch Anthony Perkins be a maniac. You watch her. What is the body of water that she falls into? It's
In
a fountain,
Yes,
yes?
and then yeah, and she was pushed in, yeah, and then
Yes.
freaking that becomes a Maybelline ad or something. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And then there's a wonderful that people quoted, people, friends of mine, where she says to Billy D. Williams, is it, I want a man. It's something like that. He's running for office.
Oh, I want my old man back. How you
Yes,
get
yes.
no man back?
I want
Don't
my
get her
old
man back yet.
man
There's
back.
in a welfare line because she
Yes,
lost her
okay.
job from
Yes,
that rotten boss of hers at Marshall Fields in Chicago. Right, right, right. You left your sketchbook in his office. Yeah,
exactly.
oh, everything's fine. Yeah. And so she leaves. But Anthony Perkins, Sean McAvoy, takes her to Rome. Excuse me, it's Rome. And she becomes the supermodel
And who's the wonderful character actor that is in it also? And
Pierre Armand, when I said I want to go home, I didn't mean the villa. I want to go home. That guy,
yes.
he's GM Pierre Armand, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And there's
Ah, yes, 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 yes,
Nina
yes.
Foch is the mean bossy lady that like works at Marshall's. You left
Ah,
your sketchbook in his office. There's a continuity error in Mahogany. It's the only thing I don't like about the movie.
oh, really?
Diana is walking with Nina Foch or whatever. I'm saying her last name wrong. She's
Foch,
and
Nina Foch.
she's got like a Foch. She's got an orange sweater on, and
Yes.
then she sees Sean Anthony Perkins, but Sean McAvoy, the character, and
Yes.
she's got a green one on. I'm so confused. It's like, but it was the same scene because Nina's got the same outfit on, and Diana's has a different color. And those are the things that like keep me up at night. Like I want to.
No. What do you just have to think that Diana likes a change?
Well, the thing is, but like, I don't think the average person would notice it, but like, maybe because I've seen it too many times, but I
He
don't know if
goes
you
to a
remember
park bench and changes the sweater.
maybe there was an accident, but she literally had the thing that she was putting up in the movie, and she walked from putting something up. The next shot was Sean was moving, and then Nina has the same outfit on, and Diane has a completely different color. Like it's like they switched colors. It was so bizarre. It was like,
Once
oh,
I go into mahogany, it's all suspension of disbelief.
well, I like it when she's the montage when she's got all those feathers and the butterfly.
Right,
It's
right,
really
right.
beautiful. And the makeup that she's putting on. Yeah, that's quite a film. And just for fun
Yes.
in the 2000s, uh, my friend Dustin and I, we had they ran Mahogany for a week because we had some type of a party that people so like literally like there was like they sold out. So they
Right.
like Paramount gave Chelsea Cinemas, and it's no longer, but they gave a fresh reel, and like it was Justin and myself, just but I was like, they're running this for the whole week, and like, oh, you're gonna see that old movie? I'm like, old movie? It's only 43 years old. Or no, it was probably like 36
Right,
years old or something.
right.
Yeah, but they were like that. You're watching that old movie? And like,
If
yeah.
you watch Netflix or Amazon, they have lots of films that are from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. And I think they should give Mahogany a chance.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So interesting that Mahogany is the unexpected gem. I do think that that film holds up. It's brilliant. And of course the song is great too.
Yes.
Um the Oscar nominated song. Legacy in the making, in your opinion. What is Diana Ross's most significant contribution to the world, the earth, the her presence on this planet? What is her most significant contribution?
I think it
I think
goes,
this is a hard question. I do.
oh, really?
Oh, well, I mean, it doesn't matter, but what is your
I
answer?
find
What
it so easy. I think it goes back to, and we've alluded to it throughout this conversation, it goes back to little girls, and I was a little boy, seeing this beautiful Black woman. And also, I was very skinny and being teased about it all the time. So to see this as an object of beauty, this Black thin woman who was so gorgeous that you couldn't take your eyes off her. She was on one of the most popular television shows in the world at that point and continued to be. And then you watched her and you thought, well, she's not going to go under. She's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think as a role model, I mean, she encapsulates what we call the American dream in that, and it's interesting because people would like to believe that it is truly a rags to riches. And I read an article where she said, I never wanted for anything. It's not that I didn't have
well, she
shoes
writes in
or
her
a
book.
dress.
Take Show the Sparrow, page 33. The Rosses were never raggedy.
Yes,
Did you
exactly.
know those things when you had like Bibles and as a kid they had tabs? And the,
Is that what you
I,
have with
I
Sparrow?
and my one of my copies I have tabs like it's like Secret Show like the Bible drill like
But I
Only
think
so
that
darkness.
that's so
What?
important. And it was important for her to say that when you talk about me as as an American symbol, that you'd like to say rags to riches, because I think that's another image that we have. When you say the Brewster Projects, I think that our image is that she was somehow digging in garbage cans, and that was never, ever happening. I grew up in a project, which is also part of Sunday You Learn How to Box. And so I know that there are projects and there are projects. And from what I can gather, there were people who were uh, upwardly mobile in the Brewster Project. So it wasn't, and I think that's where she got a sense of style. So all of that, I think, for kids who are Black kids, even now, who are not familiar with her whole career, can see when they see her with Beyonce, they
Mhm.
say, well, who is she? And anybody who's astute enough to respond will say she started a long time ago. She was our Beyonce, years ago. And that's history. That's musical history. That's show business history. That's American history. So for me, that's a huge contribution
Mhm. Yeah.
and comes to me very easily.
Okay. Very cool. And then thank you for that answer. And now the seventh final question. Star 80, the dream duet. If you could create a fantasy musical collaboration for Diana Ross, and this could be something that could be actualized with a living or not living person voice, who would
Yes.
you pair with Diana Ross with and why?
Well, I have not only music, but I have film.
Ooh.
Yes. So
Ooh, I love our AI. Let's go in. Let's go, go, go.
now I don't know, did she record with Luther Vandross? I know she performed with him.
She recorded a song that he wrote and produced for her called It's Hard for Me to Say, and she performed it on Oprah in February of 2011. And she's put that song into the says it's hard, and he recorded his own solo version in 1994.
Okay. There is a show that she does with him. She's in concert and
It's
she brings him up and they
yeah,
sing together. Is that
correct.
Endless Love?
That was Return to Love 2000 at Madison Square Garden. They sang Amazing Grace in Philadelphia for
Okay.
Return to Love, and then they did at Madison Square Garden. I think it was July 6th. They did
Endless
they
Love.
sang The Best Years of My Life, and she also sang Reach Out, I'll Be There, which was a
Okay.
shock.
Okay. So I would love to have a recording of Luther and Diana.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know whether she recorded with Teddy Pendergrass. Did she?
Mm-mm. She
I would,
could with Artificial. She did In Your Arms, which became Hold Me, that
right.
Whitney Luther took to 5 on the R&B charts in 1984. So that could be an artificial intelligence collaboration because she did on her album Silk Electric, the one that had muscles.
Okay. Because both of them have sexy crooning voices.
Mhm.
And we know that that's a great match for her,
Yes.
is to have, and she adored Luther. So I think that that would be special. And she also, she did, I'm sure she does a lot of flirting when she's with male performers. And she's done it throughout her
She's
career.
never really sang with a woman except for Brandy. I mean, this is Supremes. There
Ah,
was never a duet with of another female vocalist. I mean, like
okay,
sure duet. The
right.
Supremes was a trio, but Brandy was the only vocal duet that I know of. Then
Okay,
it wasn't released. It was
right.
they just put it in the TV movie Double Platinum.
Now,
Yeah.
for my film,
Yes.
I would like to see her, and I don't know who remembers this person, although he's so dear to my heart. Gregory Hines.
Yeah.
You know Gregory Hines?
White Knight.
Absolutely.
And on and on and on. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful tap artist, actor, singer. I would love to see her with him. And I would, now here's a real AI project for you. I would love to see her with Cary Grant and with Clark Gable.
Wow.
I would love to see a combination like that. Isn't that something?
Is something, and I wonder what film it would be. I mean, with artificial intelligence, as you know, it's not going away. It's just
Oh,
not going
absolutely.
away. It
Absolutely.
makes our life easier, and there's systemic gains to it, but then there's all those systemic problems, we can go on and on. But like with artificial intelligence, with creative things like a fantasy movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
I'd like to see one of what they called screwball comedies. And so I would love to see take one of the scripts from the 30s or the 40s, and one of the very glamorous ones where she gets to wear gowns, and do one of those romantic comedies, except Diana Ross will take the place of Ginger Rogers or,
Mae West or something. Yeah.
yes, whomever.
Would it be in color or black and white?
I
Black and white.
would love, that's a great question. I would love to see it in black and white.
Me too, because I think look at the George Terrell photographed Diana Ross in 1985, and it was only used until it was like in the program in 85, 86, but it was it's like it's very George Terrell. It's just
Right, right.
and there were some color photos, but the black and white ones were astounding. And she really does look good in black and white, as we see in the YSL ads. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's
The
a
other thing, if we move up in time, so this is a lot more recent, although the first name that I have, she's no longer with us, but I would love to see a sister story with Diana and Diane Carroll.
excellent. I agree. I agree. That is such a missed opportunity. Such a missed opportunity. But with artificial intelligence, you
Yes,
could.
yes. And I would love to see her do a sister story with Queen Latifah.
Well, yeah, I was thinking, yeah, I could see that too. And I know
Yes,
that Queen Latifah respects Diana Ross because when I was at Divas 2000, Queen Latifah was one of the people that did the voiceovers when they were promoting
yeah,
the very long, not live concert and
right.
for saving the music. Absolutely. Interesting. So,
All of them have given her her due.
pardon me?
All of them have given her her due.
Correct.
All of the people that we celebrate now who've been around for a long time, I think sometimes people feel that they're going to get something nasty out of someone if they ask, well, what do you think of Diana Ross? If you ask a Latifah, or if you ask somebody from a different generation, and all of those women say the same thing. She's a survivor because she's a great performer and people love her. I
So,
saw somebody ask Patti LaBelle as though they expected a somewhat negative answer. And it may have been a little qualified in the beginning, but ultimately what she said was that she's the best.
mhm.
Also, I want a film with Janelle Monáe.
Oh, with Diana Ross.
Yes,
Yeah, that's still possible.
yes,
That's very possible. You know what? Every feature film she's ever done has gotten an Oscar nomination, even The Wiz. Like I know there were only three features. I mean, we can't count Beach Ball or Tammy Show, but those were feature films. And of course, there's another one where she's like, it's like some like fashion kind of film, but like of her star quality on the above the title
yes.
movie. She's headlined three motion pictures. They've all gotten Oscar nominations. And it would just be interesting to see, because like Lee Daniels has tried, and this a few other people have tried to lure into it, but there's something that she just probably just like, I just don't want to do it. And just like she doesn't want to do young, youthful music,
Uh,
maybe that magical strip will happen, and she can be like a Ruby D and have like an one, yeah.
my feeling is that this is instinct,
Okay.
that she is, and I think a lot of the magic of Lady Sings the Blues
Hmm.
had to do with the fact that she's a great improviser. because she's witty, she's funny, she knows herself very well. And I think what happens is she can go in and out of a written script. And I think that's a lot of her magic. And I think with Berry Gordy so close by during the filming of Lady Sings the Blues, I think she may have been given, which is a great thing. Improvisation is really difficult, a lot of space to be playful, to create moments. And I think that part of the reason that she might be saying no to certain directors is that rapport that was so clear in Mahogany and Lady Sings the Blues, I think may not be with someone else. There are some stars who've only worked with one director because they had that freedom to create in the moment. And that's not something that everybody can do.
Right.
That has always been my feeling about why there's not more film,
Hmm.
is that the opportunities that she had where she was so brilliant, she had a lot more creative input than she might in some other film.
And creative control of that at that.
Absolutely.
Because like I was watching Out of Darkness because we were watching TV movies on YouTube because they have there's someone that just uploaded things and that's such a powerful film that she produced herself with that three picture deal with ABC and it I was blown away again watching the first 20 minutes of it. It was impressive and she definitely has it and of course but the producing of it is what makes it so because she had the right
Absolutely.
people around her.
Actors always say that movies are a producer, director's medium and an editor's medium. So
Mhm,
the director works with the editor, and the ultimate film is what the two of them put together.
mhm.
We're no longer in the age of stars saying, no, I want this, I want that. This scene should be in, that scene shouldn't be, and having the power to do that. And I think that again, her powerful performances, she had a great deal of, as you say, she had some clout as a producer, and then also working with people who wanted her to feel totally comfortable making decisions creatively.
So, just out of curiosity, as we end this conversation and start 80, do you think any of your books would like resonate to any of the Ross children and maybe Evan or Ron or Tracy would want to like produce one into a film?
I was just talking actually to my agent about this.
Oh, good. I'm glad we're manifesting. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It's important. It's
And
important.
saying, I believe, and saying that When the Black Girl Sings would make a wonderful film.
I
Uh,
agree.
yes. And I think the music in it would be inspirational because you have a gamut from rhythm and blues to gospel, so that it's something that any audience could appreciate. And again, it's an inspirational story, of a young girl who really is trying to find herself, find her way in the world. And again, some funny stuff, some stuff that's a little more poignant. But yeah, I absolutely think that When the Black Girl Sings. And I'm so glad you asked me that question because I want so much to have a book on film.
Well, I believe it's going to happen because it's the spoken word is so powerful. And then when you really, if you really want something, it just does manifest as long as you're controlling your thought process. If you're negative all the time, you're just going to attract that. And I believe that that will happen. And it'll be really cool if it's one of the, if it's Evan or Tracy is involved because I think it's possible. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely. Absolutely. And I would love for Diana to adore it at the premiere.
well, everything you say is a prayer. I will hope to be at that premiere.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
oh yeah. Anyway, so seriously, I miss my trips to Los Angeles because I
Now
used
I'm
to
in, I said West Coast. I'm in
West
San
Coast.
Diego.
Oh, San Diego, that's where Diana Ross lives.
And I grew up in Connecticut. She has her home in Greenwich.
I know. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh my gosh, it's so close. Yeah, yeah, I knew that. I was talking to somebody yesterday about with the last one that I was mentioning that like when I had my dissertation where you do your argument, I had wanted, of course, I invited Diana Ross to go and to send to her home, and then it was returned, but with her Sherry Netherland address. So I'm like, oh, that's where the management company is. But I never went to those places outside just because I thought it would be too obvious, you know. But I did send things. And I did get a phone call and I
Oh, you
saw,
did?
yeah, well, I did an all black version of Wonder Woman. It was a zine, remember Village Copier, where you can get things printed in color, like
Yes, yes,
for like real expensive, but you get like 4 copies. Or so I
yes.
had a zine. It was called Diana Ross is Wonder Woman, and it was obviously Billy D. Williams, Diana Ross, RuPaul, and of course I was in it too. And
Right,
I was her friend in Paradise Island, and we were that was the menace of the Maldives. So Roberta Flack and Whitney Houston, Eartha Kitt, everyone was in it.
right.
Diana Ross was Wonder Woman. And what appropriate. She's Diana Prince, becomes Wonder Woman. And the bottom line is her office has called me. And it was, and I was like, I didn't expect it. It was blindsided. And I literally, and I basically, I wasn't told to stop, but I kind of felt, I think it's time to stop. So I didn't, yeah, after that. But
Well,
it was a brilliant,
what
yeah,
I
it's
need
so
to do
good.
is the script for your our film about the different dolls who come to life, the
Oh,
different Diana dolls who come to life.
hmm.
That's yes, at various stages, various
Yeah,
concerts.
did you see my Christmas tree this year?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I
I'm
don't
gonna send
think
you
I
the.
did.
Well, the thing is, I basically made a gazillion Diana Ross dolls, and I'll just show you one. This was on the top of the tree. This is Diana in Vegas.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And then, of
That's
course,
so
it has
cool.
the Diamond Diana colors, red and black. It's also Forever Diana. And then each one, I did about 150, but I just narrowed down to 80 because it's the 80 dolls for 80 gowns in 80 years. So our Christmas tree had all of these dolls on it. And truth be told, I knew it was going to look gorgeous. And
Yes.
Dean was like, I think he was getting nervous. Christmas tree got to be like Bergdorf's beautiful. And
Right, right.
it really touched me because I did one of those things on TikTok where it says I'm coming out and just spun around 2 times and I
Yes.
put it on YouTube and it's got like so many people like I've never thought about algorithms before, but like
Right.
because I put it up, like people were noting that I was the dude that made the
Absolutely.
Christmas tree of Diana Ross. So
So
I'm gonna
keep
send you a
that
picture.
in your mind. Keep that in your mind. Is
No.
that
And I've
all
got plenty of
those
props
dolls?
to like because they are very
Of
like that.
course.
But
Of
I have
course.
by the way, I have the tuxedo. I have a doll of that. I do. And I
Oh,
with this with the invisible zipper. And the best part, I didn't spend a thing. All my fashion crafter friends just kept giving me stuff. So it
well,
was like
that's so great.
so I was able to just focus and just do these dolls in the last 6 months. And so the tree had all of Diana, and there were 80 of them. I had like the red gowns, the white gowns, the blue gowns, the green gowns, all the eras.
Now,
And
with what you do, are you able to do the hairdo, which is one of my favorites, where everything is slicked back and
yes,
then there's the full fall in the back? Are
I
you
have one.
able to
I
do
did that
that?
one. I did that one. That was from the 78, 79 show where it was like she had she sang she had like a mask on and it was like, yeah, I have that one. I did that one.
Great. That's
Yes,
a look that her face is so beautiful that
right.
I love seeing her face. And that was, there was a period, there were a few times when she had her hair pulled back so that you could see just the face and without so much hair.
Well,
And I
this
love that.
February 10th is it's the 48th anniversary of the Diana Ross album, the second album called Diana Ross with Thing for Mahogany, Love Hangover. It came out 48 years ago today, February 10, and her hair is pulled back. And
Uh-huh.
also there's a three-quarter pose with her hair pulled back. And they use that three-quarter pose on like several of the drawings of Diana Ross on the Ross album with a cigarette,
Yes.
or the one with all the great hits, or even Diana's duets with her hands like this in the back cover. So that album, and I think it's Victor, I can never say his last name, but he did those pulled back ones were really
Yes.
dramatic looking, where her face is really showing. And today is the anniversary of that album. I thought it
Now,
took a little time, as well as One Love in My Lifetime. So
I have one for you. There's a photograph of Diana that I love, and I want to see if you have any memory of this or if you've seen this. It has to be early 60s, and they are shopping. The Supremes are shopping in
and
what?
Diana has a blonde wig on.
No, 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 no. No, she has a big black beehive and she has cat eyeliner. And
Oh,
she has very matte makeup
uh-huh.
and this cat eyeliner. And she's looking at something, maybe a dress or something.
I know exactly the photo you're talking
Do
about.
you?
Yes. And
It's wonderful.
they also at the same time they also have she goes into a wig shop and then she puts on a blonde wig and she has the same cat eye makeup. And
Yes.
it's kind of surreal because Mary was a blonde for a minute and then Florence was also had that auburn blonde hair naturally and then she wore the blonde in the Back in My Arms Again era. So
And the
she's ended up
one,
all three of them tried the blonde look and
oh,
Diana,
there's a great, what concert is that where she goes to Michael? He's in the audience and she
that
has
was
this short
1996. She got a legend, like a lifetime achievement
blonde.
award at the World Music Awards, and she had a purple wrap, and then she had the blue with the red pantsuit, and she had like kind of like a Mary J. Blige kind of blonde hair, short, and I think she
Short.
just wore it was short and blonde, and
Yeah.
she actually came out with that, and that was shocking. That was really shocking.
It was shocking.
'Cause I was
The
like, she
thing
must have,
about the photograph that I'm talking about that is it looks fairly candid. It's not posed. And because she literally is looking at a dress or something. Not that she didn't know she was being photographed, but it's not a publicity shot.
right, right, right,
And she looks like the ultimate 60s bad girl.
right.
She looks actually like Ronnie of
Ronnie Ronette. Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. That's who she looks because she has this liner and I think she has a half bang and this high black. Yeah, she definitely looks like a bad girl.
Yeah.
And I think that is the one of the things that fascinates me is the grooming that was done and the change of who these young women were to make them more appealing to the general public.
Which was like, I think her name was Maxine Powell, who was the groom that she
Yes,
did the finishing
yes,
school. And Barry Gordy Jr. thought of it as like a conveyor belt of like the automobile industry where you like put the product and everything had to be in the right spot. Yeah. And she was
exactly.
the woman that helped them be able to meet the Queen of England in 1968, where Mary, one of Margaret asked Mary if that was a wig she was wearing, and someone got a picture of Mary going and really funny. And then Diane and Cindy are like grand with those really heavy beaded gowns and looking
Right.
like, and Mary's like Mary talks about it in one of her memoirs that she couldn't believe that Margaret would ask her that
Right,
question. And of
right.
course, the press had went crazy because, but they learned how to get out of cars and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And how for that trip to bow?
Yeah.
They were taught how to bow before the queen.
Mm-hmm. But
Which
they weren't Mary wasn't trained in how to if somebody asked you an awkward question. Because when Diana was asked that question, she goes, "Yeah, it's my hair. I bought it myself. Do you like to see the receipt?" This is
absolutely.
really smart. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. As I said, she's very clever.
Hmm.
She's very witty. And I think her sense of self is so strong and always has been.
Hmm.
So that if you ask her, I love the way that she handles difficult questions. Around the time that her husband died, the second husband, there were lots of people asking very personal questions about their relationship and the distance between them. And this was after his death. So she was really responding as a widow. And she does it so graciously. And of course, as Diana does, she looks camera ready. She's just gorgeous
Hmm.
in her black with her hair. She looks gorgeous. And she's really, really, you can tell that she's in mourning, but you can also tell that she is in charge of the interview and she's not going to let it go awry.
Mhm.
And I love that she talks about being close with the children, with
Yeah.
Ness's children.
Well, she's still in, because I, like I said, I helped one of the I believe it's Leona, the youngest daughter with, and I helped their granddaughter go up. I mean, yeah, it's pretty impressive. I always also like the way that when she separated from her first husband, they still got along for the sake of the kids, which I wish my siblings who've got like separated could do that for the sake of their kids. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right.
Tracy is very clear that she loves her dad and that her dad should be in the picture.
Mhm.
And I think that, again, it shows her strength, Diana's strength, to get through. I mean, also, again, she had the backing of her lover at that time. Um, but to move through that, because again, that could have been a huge scandal if it was not handled properly. And I
Right.
think that one of the things that Silverstein did was to be so gracious and
Mhm.
continues to be gracious about it. And I think also that's to her credit, to Gordy's credit. I give him so much credit for her career, and she does as well. But I think, again, to have, for me as a Black artist, that team, to have a Black man and a Black woman aligned in that way to move through quote unquote show business, which
Mhm.
has always been white show business, and
Correct.
to create a legend, I think is, I just have no real words for how wonderful
Well,
that is.
5 non-consecutive weeks Lady Sings the Blues was number one in the box office in 1972, 1973. How, like Diane Carroll said that wouldn't happen. No one believed it, but I believe that Barry, Gordy Jr., and Diana did. They did.
Oh, absolutely.
And
It's
Mahogany, for what it's worth, Mahogany broke box office records like The Godfather 2, and
oh
that they had to keep.
good.
Yeah, so I mean that was like that's real, that's history. So
Yeah,
people always say it was like it was panned because the critics didn't like it. It was a
right,
huge box office
yeah.
draw,
That's
Mahogany.
the bottom line. Look at the numbers.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to forget that. And of course, The Wiz to end this call. The Wiz, as I swallow hard, The Wiz made its money back because it's the top selling DVD of Universal. Like it made the money. Plus, it sold it a $10 million television rights in 80. It was on CBS. So it made its money back. And of course, if it wasn't for that movie, Thriller wouldn't have happened with Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson. And also The Color Purple and those big budget movies, like there's always, and The Wizard of Oz was a flop when it came out. So like it certainly resonates with the kids today. They like The Wiz. I am not sure how I feel about The Wiz. I love A Brand New Day. I love her singing in The Wiz.
Yes.
But The Wiz is a big staple for the kids that they always think of, oh yeah, she's the one that's in The Wiz. That honestly. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Just fast forward to home at the end.
Yeah.
You
And that
never
was
miss the
live, by the
moment.
way. That was filmed live.
Oh,
That
really?
was not in the studio. She's not a very good lip syncer. Like
Okay.
it's pretty, yeah, she's not the best at that. Like so she had to sing it live and it was worth it because you see the motions in her singing. Yeah.
The two moments in that are magical are Lena Horne, Believe in Yourself, and Diana's Home.
Yeah.
And I think those are the moments that are so worth watching in that film, if nothing else. Those moments are
I
wonderful.
tend to like the moments with Diane and Michael because it's kind of like this cute little love story for me. Well, I like that Scarecrow and Diana together. And then, of course, if you look at when Lena Horne is singing, you see Rhonda and Tracy and Chutney, the babies.
Are they
They're like
there?
Mormon babies, but Tracy is like this, like it's their first girl crush. And then Chutney's like barely like 2 or 3, and she's like, "What the heck?" It's really good. Yeah.
I have to take a closer look at the babies. I've
The
seen
the
that so many
the
times.
Linda the Good Witch babies. They're all these like babies that are all like everyone's kid is basically hanging from like a wire, and they're like have snowflakes around them. But if you look, you see Tracy because she had glasses and she didn't wear them because she couldn't see. And
Right.
then Rhonda is there and Chutney is way in the back. If you look it on the, you'll see, you'll catch it. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
good.
this has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much. It's getting late here on the East Coast, but you know what? You never know. You might just bump into Diane. I hear that if you say Diane, you might get her attention because she lives in San Diego.
Okay. I will be on the lookout.
Thank
Thank
you
you
again.
so much. Really,
Thank
this
you.
has been lovely.
This was fun. Thank you so much.
All righty. Bye bye.